Leo lived in a small mountain village. His shoes were old, but his dreams were new. Every morning he watched the sun rise and whispered, "I will not quit." People in his village worked hard in the fields. They believed life never changed. But Leo believed something different. He believed work and hope could change everything. His father fixed broken tools for neighbors. His mother baked bread and shared it freely. They had little money, but their hearts were full of kindness and faith. Leo helped his father after school. His hands were rough, but his spirit was strong. He saved every coin he earned to buy school books someday. He loved reading about great inventors. Their stories made him dream of creating something that could help people. But every time he tried, something went wrong and people laughed. "Leo, you always fail," a boy teased. Leo smiled and said softly, "Maybe, but I'm learning." That answer surprised everyone. Failure did not break him. It trained him. At night, Leo studied by candlelight. The flame was small, yet his desire was bright. He repeated English words again and again, trying to speak clearly and bravely. Sometimes the candle burned out before midnight. He still kept reading under moonlight. The shadows danced across his notebook, but Leo kept writing his dreams again and again. His teacher, Mrs. Clara, saw his effort. She said, "Leo, you are slow, but you never stop. That is your power." Leo smiled with quiet pride. One day a science contest was announced. The prize was a scholarship. Leo wanted to join but had no materials. His father said, "Use what we have." So he did. He collected old bottles, wires, and wood scraps. The neighbors laughed when they saw him digging in trash piles. But Leo saw possibilities where others saw waste. His project idea was simple: a water filter for the village. He tested, failed, fixed, and failed again. Each failure was another teacher whispering, "Try differently." Weeks passed. His hands smelled like metal, and his clothes were dirty. But his eyes stayed bright. He knew that quitting would erase every lesson he had learned. Finally, he made a small filter that worked. Clean water dripped slowly into a cup. He smiled so wide that his cheeks hurt. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. When he showed it to his teacher, she cried, "Leo, this can change lives." The next day, she entered his project in the contest without telling him. At the city exhibition, other students had shiny machines. Leo only had wood and bottles. He felt nervous, but his father said, "Son, courage makes small things shine." When the judges arrived, Leo spoke softly in English. His voice shook, but his words were true. He explained how his filter could help poor families drink clean water. After he finished, silence filled the room. Then one judge said, "This boy has heart." The audience clapped loudly. Leo could not stop smiling. His father wiped tears. Leo did not win first prize, but he received a special award for creativity. It wasn't gold, but it was enough to open a door he had dreamed about. The local newspaper wrote, "Village boy builds hope." People in his hometown stopped laughing. Some asked him to fix their wells. He helped them all without asking payment. That night, Leo looked at the stars. He said softly, "Dreams grow when we water them with effort." His mother hugged him tightly and whispered, "You made us proud." The next morning, he returned to school. Other students greeted him differently now. "Hey, Leo, can you teach us how to make that filter?" they asked with excitement. Leo smiled and said, "Of course. But promise me one thing. Never give up when it fails." They laughed, but they remembered those words for many years. He started a small science club. The members met after class under a tree. They shared ideas and fixed broken toys together. Slowly, their curiosity became stronger than fear. Every week, Mrs. Clara gave them new challenges. One time, they had to make a car using rubber bands. Most failed, but Leo said, "Failure is the first design." His classmates began repeating that phrase whenever they made mistakes. Failure is the first design. It became their motto, their shield against doubt and shame. The club grew. Even students who once mocked Leo joined. They learned that learning wasn't about being fast. It was about being faithful to every small step. One day, the school principal visited their club. He watched their simple projects and smiled. "This is more than science," he said. "This is courage in action." The principal decided to send Leo and his team to a regional fair. It was their first journey outside the village. Everyone packed sandwiches and dreams together. During the trip, Leo looked out the bus window. The mountains looked smaller now. He thought, "Maybe the world is bigger, but my hope is strong enough." When they arrived, the fair was huge. Robots, drones, and lights filled the hall. Leo's wooden projects looked tiny. Yet his heart whispered, "Don't be afraid." He guided his team, arranged their table neatly, and smiled at every visitor. Some laughed at their work, but others said, "It's simple, but beautiful." At the end of the day, the announcer said, "The Courage Award goes to Leo's team." The children jumped and cheered. Leo bowed, feeling the power of persistence. That night in the dormitory, Leo couldn't sleep. He thought about the journey from his small village to this big hall. He whispered, "This is only the beginning." The morning after the fair, Leo returned home. His village greeted him with pride. He had shown that small hands could hold big dreams. Mrs. Clara welcomed him with warm applause. "You made us proud," she said. Leo smiled shyly, thankful for her belief when others doubted. He placed his small award beside his candle. It reminded him of light, effort, and possibility. Each night he studied harder than before. English lessons became his favorite. He read slowly but carefully, repeating each phrase. He wanted to understand the world beyond his mountain. His father noticed his focus. "Son," he said, "you have fire inside you. Keep it alive." Leo nodded, promising silently never to let that flame fade. Winter came. The nights grew colder, but Leo's dreams grew warmer. He wrapped himself in blankets, reading science books by candlelight. When storms howled outside, he whispered lessons aloud. His mother listened from the kitchen, smiling softly. "That boy," she thought, "will go far someday." One evening, a traveler visited their village. He was an engineer from the city. He saw Leo repairing a broken radio near the market. "You fix that alone?" the man asked. Leo nodded proudly. The engineer smiled. "You have talent. You should study more. Come visit my workshop someday." The next week, Leo traveled to the small city. The bus ride was long, but his excitement was endless. Every passing hill looked like a step toward hope. At the workshop, machines hummed like music. Leo's eyes widened. He wanted to understand every sound, every wire, every spark that built life from nothing. The engineer taught him about circuits, light, and patience. "Mistakes are normal," he said. "Only quitting kills learning." Leo repeated those words until they lived in his heart. He returned home, inspired. He wanted to build something for his village again, something better, cleaner, stronger. His dream was now brighter than ever. That spring, the river flooded nearby farms. Many families lost their crops. Leo decided to build small pumps to save their fields from drowning. He gathered his friends under the same tree. "Let's do something together," he said. They nodded, ready to help. Hope had become a habit. They built small models first. The pumps failed again and again, spraying water everywhere. But Leo laughed each time. "Failure first, success next," he said cheerfully. After weeks of work, one pump finally worked. The children cheered loudly. Farmers came running. "It's working!" They shouted with joy and disbelief. For days, they used Leo's pumps to protect the fields. When the rain stopped, the crops survived. The village called it a miracle born from effort. The mayor visited their school. "Young man," he said, "you saved many families. What do you want as a reward?" Leo smiled. "Just more books, sir." That answer made everyone clap. Mrs. Clara cried quietly. "That's my student," she whispered proudly. Leo's story spread far beyond the mountain. A journalist came to interview him. "What is your secret?" she asked. Leo looked down and said, "Never stop trying, even when nobody believes." The article appeared in the city newspaper. It read, "Boy of the Hills teaches the world perseverance." People everywhere admired his simple yet powerful story. Soon letters arrived from other schools. Children wrote, "You inspire us." Leo read every letter slowly, smiling at each word like it was a gift. He realized something important. His dream was no longer just about machines. It was about hearts, hope, and human connection. He wanted to teach that to others. He started visiting nearby villages, giving short talks. His English was still simple, but his message was strong. "If I can do it, so can you." Each talk ended with applause. But Leo didn't see it as fame. He saw it as fuel to keep walking forward, one small dream at a time. Then one day, a scholarship letter arrived. It offered him a chance to study engineering in the city. His hands trembled as he opened it. His parents cried with pride. "Go," his father said. "Make the world brighter." Leo hugged them tightly, whispering, "I'll return with more light." The night before he left, he sat under the stars. "Thank you," he whispered to the mountains. "You taught me strength." The wind answered softly in return. At dawn, he stepped onto the bus. His heart was full of fear and faith. He didn't know the city, but he trusted his purpose. When the city skyline appeared, Leo's eyes filled with wonder. So many lights, so many people. Yet inside, his simple promise stayed the same. Never give up. City life was loud and bright. Leo missed the quiet mountains, but he loved the new library filled with books that smelled like dreams and dust. He met students from many places. Some spoke fast English. He could barely follow. But instead of feeling small, he listened carefully and learned from every word. At first, he failed several tests. His grammar was weak, his pronunciation unclear. But he remembered his motto, failure first, success next. He studied harder than ever. He woke before sunrise, reviewed lessons, and wrote new vocabulary on the wall. Every word became a brick building his confidence higher each day. His roommate Tom noticed his effort. "You never rest," Tom said. Leo smiled. Rest comes after results. They laughed together and soon became best friends. Together they formed a study group. They practiced English conversation after dinner. Mistakes made them laugh, but laughter kept them learning without fear or shame. Their teacher, Mr. Ramos, admired their spirit. "You remind me that learning needs heart," he said. "Machines can memorize, but humans can dream." The class applauded softly. Leo joined the school innovation club. The theme was Solutions for Tomorrow. He proposed a small wind-powered light for poor villages. Some students doubted him again. Too simple, they said. Leo just smiled. Simple ideas often shine longest, he replied. He gathered recycled materials and began testing tiny blades under his dorm window. Wind lifted his paper blades. They turned slowly, generating weak light, but strong hope. Leo whispered, "Even the smallest wind can start a storm of change." Days turned into nights of work. He failed many times, burning circuits and melting wires, yet every spark reminded him that progress needs patience. Tom helped him solder parts carefully. "You're crazy but inspiring," Tom laughed. Leo replied, "Crazy enough to believe effort always wins." Their friendship grew through shared persistence. After weeks, their prototype finally glowed steadily. A faint yellow light filled the room. It wasn't bright, but it was real, proof that belief creates brightness. They presented it in class. Everyone clapped. Mr. Ramos said, "This is practical, affordable, and full of heart." Leo felt gratitude replace exhaustion in his soul. News spread again. The college newspaper published an article, "Student Lights, Hope with Wind." Messages came from students who wanted to join his mission. Leo realized teamwork multiplies miracles. He formed a volunteer group to bring light kits to rural schools. Weekends became work days filled with joy and purpose. They traveled to villages carrying boxes of tiny turbines. Children's eyes widened when lights turned on. Teachers cried. The dark classrooms now glowed with golden learning. Leo taught them basic English while fixing wires. "Repeat after me. Light, hope, future." Their laughter echoed through the valley. He felt richer than ever before. When he returned, the university invited him to speak. Standing on stage, he remembered his first trembling speech back home. Now his voice was calm and confident. He said, "Dreams don't belong to cities. They belong to those who refuse to quit." The audience stood, clapping until his heart trembled with gratitude. That night, Leo wrote in his diary, "Success isn't about winning first. It's about continuing second, third, and forever." He slept peacefully, proud yet humble. Months later, a new challenge appeared. The university announced a national innovation competition. The prize included a research grant. Leo decided to enter again. His idea, a hybrid pump using wind and pedal power. It could help farmers where electricity was rare. It was ambitious, but ambition was his fuel. He spent long nights in the lab. Sometimes failures made him cry quietly, but every tear watered his will to improve. Nothing felt impossible anymore. Tom said, "Why push yourself so much?" Leo replied, "Because giving up once teaches the habit of giving up always." That answer silenced every doubt. Finally, the big day arrived. The judges inspected each invention carefully. Leo's turn came last. His heart beat like a drum, but his smile never left. He spoke slowly in English, explaining each part clearly. The fans turned, the pedals spun, and water flowed smoothly into the tank. The crowd gasped and applauded. One judge leaned forward. "This could change agriculture," she said. Another added, "This, boys, persistence, is power itself." Leo's eyes filled with quiet tears. When results were announced, Leo won first prize. His team lifted him up cheering. Cameras flashed, but Leo only thought of his parents and Mrs. Clara. He called home immediately. "Papa, Mama, we did it!" His father's voice broke with emotion. "You never gave up, son." That's the real victory, Mrs. Clara wrote him a short letter. I always believed the boy who fixed broken things would someday fix broken hearts, too. Leo cried, reading it. That night he stood on the dorm rooftop. The city lights shimmered below. He whispered, "Thank you, world, for rewarding patience." The wind answered with warmth. He promised himself not to stop there. He wanted to help more villages, teach more children, and show more dreamers that limits exist only in fear. The next morning he started planning his foundation. Never Give Up Initiative. It would connect students and inventors to bring small innovations to those who needed them most. His friends joined eagerly. They organized workshops teaching English and creativity. Leo believed language and invention were two wings of the same dream. Soon, his weekends filled with travel again. Villagers welcomed him with songs and food. Each smile reminded him why he began this long journey. Wherever he went, he repeated his favorite sentence: "Dream small if you must, but never stop dreaming." Children shouted it back, their voices like sunshine. Months passed. Leo's foundation grew fast. Letters came from students everywhere. They wanted to learn from him, not just about science, but about patience, purpose, and kindness. He began writing short English lessons online. "Learn words through life," he said in videos. His calm voice encouraged learners afraid of mistakes. One word daily can change everything. His videos spread across social media. Comments poured in. "You taught me confidence." "Your story gave me courage," Leo replied to each message with gratitude and simple hope. He never used fancy language. He spoke like a friend, not a teacher. "English isn't magic," he said. "It's just another bridge between hearts." Soon, international schools invited him to speak. Standing before hundreds, he began every talk the same way. "Hello, I'm Leo. I once fixed broken toys. Now, I fix broken hope." The audience always smiled, some even cried. His story wasn't perfect, but it was real. His honesty became his greatest gift to the world. At one event, a rich investor approached him. "I want to support your foundation," he said. "You remind me that big success starts with small hands." Leo thanked him humbly, but requested one thing: "Help the children, not my fame." The man nodded, deeply moved. That partnership changed everything. With funding, Leo built a small innovation school in his hometown. The same dusty road now led to a bright building called Hope Academy. He invited local teachers to join. "We'll teach English, science, and courage," he said. Mrs. Clara, now older, came to visit. Her eyes shined with pride. "You kept your promise," she whispered. Leo smiled. "You planted the seed. I just watered it." They walked through the new classrooms full of color and laughter. Children from nearby villages joined. They built tiny models, wrote English essays, and practiced speeches. Every wall displayed a quote: "Never give up, learn, build, inspire." Leo spent hours guiding them. "Mistakes are friends," he said softly. "They teach faster than success." The children nodded, unafraid to try again and again. One evening, he sat alone in the empty classroom. He looked at the blackboard filled with words and dreams. He thought, "This room is my real prize." Soon, Hope Academy became famous. Journalists wrote about it. "Engineer turns village into learning hub," one headline said. Leo just smiled. Fame fades, purpose stays. He visited other villages, sharing free toolkits and lessons. He told farmers, "Education isn't only for schools. Every hand that works can also think and learn." Everywhere he went, he repeated his golden rule: start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. People began quoting his words daily. Years went by, but Leo never changed. He still fixed broken radios for villagers, taught evening English classes, and played with children under the same old tree. One rainy afternoon, he met a boy named Arun. The boy was quiet and shy, like Leo once was. His clothes were torn, but his eyes were bright. Leo asked gently, "What do you dream of, Arun?" The boy said, "I want to make something that helps people, but everyone says I'm too small." Leo smiled warmly. "I was small too." Small isn't weak. Small means beginning. He invited Aaron to join the weekend workshop at Hope Academy. Aaron came every week. He built simple machines using old bottles. When they broke, he didn't cry. He remembered Leo's words. Failure is the first design. One day, his project finally worked. The class clapped loudly. Leo watched proudly, his heart full. He saw his younger self reflected in the boy's smile. Aaron's success inspired other students. Soon, Hope Academy was full of creative noise, spinning wheels, laughter, and endless questions. The school had become a garden of ideas. A government official visited the academy. He was amazed. "This place should be a national model," he said. "Would you share your teaching plan with us?" Leo agreed. He wrote manuals on creative learning, written in simple English. He said, "Education grows best when it is shared." His book spread across the country. Soon he was invited to the capital city to receive a national award. "You turned persistence into education," the president said. Leo bowed humbly. When he returned home, the whole village celebrated. His parents watched proudly. "You did what we couldn't even dream," his father said, his eyes shining with tears. That night, Leo walked alone by the river. The moon reflected softly on the water. He thought about his journey, every failure, every flame, every dream reborn. He whispered, "Thank you, life, for every hard day. You trained my heart." The wind rustled through the trees, sounding like applause from the universe. Years passed. Hope Academy grew stronger. Teachers came from many towns to learn Leo's method, teaching with kindness, learning through mistakes, and believing that every student had hidden fire inside. Leo still woke early. He cleaned classrooms, watered flowers, and wrote morning quotes on the board. "Today's effort is tomorrow's reward," he wrote with chalk and faith. Children arrived laughing, carrying notebooks filled with colorful dreams. Their energy made him feel young again. Teaching them felt like breathing hope every single day. One evening, a message arrived from the United Nations. They invited Leo to an education summit in Geneva. He read it twice, hardly believing his eyes. His mother smiled proudly. "The world finally heard your voice." His father nodded. "Go, son. Teach them that simplicity changes lives." Leo packed his old notebook first. The flight was long. Clouds stretched like oceans. He looked outside and whispered, "Papa, Mama, this is for you. For every night you trusted my light." At the summit, leaders discussed technology and funding. Leo listened quietly, then spoke softly. "Money builds walls. Education builds bridges." The hall fell silent in deep respect. He shared stories of his students, their laughter, their broken tools turning into miracles. Many wiped tears, realizing true change began with love, not luxury. After his speech, reporters surrounded him. "How did you succeed?" one asked. Leo answered simply, "I failed many times and kept walking." Cameras flashed. His humility shone brighter. Back home, villagers watched his speech online. They cheered. Arun, now taller, said proudly, "That's my teacher." Hope Academy's name reached every corner of the country. Leo returned with new partnerships. Organizations sent books, solar panels, and computers. Yet he told his students, "These things help, but your spirit is still the strongest tool." He introduced evening English sessions online. Thousands joined from small towns. "Repeat after me," he said, smiling through the screen. "I can learn. I can grow. I can help." Learners wrote messages from everywhere. "Your lessons changed my life. Now I speak confidently." Leo saved each message as treasure, proof that words could heal fear. One night, while checking emails, he found a message from his old friend, Tom. "Guess what?" it read. "I'm teaching at a city school now." "You inspired me?" Leo smiled warmly. "We never stop learning, my friend," he whispered. Their friendship had turned into a living bridge, connecting hearts and generations. Soon, Leo received another surprise. Mrs. Clara's daughter visited the academy. She carried a small box. Inside was Mrs. Clara's pen and a note saying, "For my best student." Tears filled his eyes. He held the pen gently. "This wrote my first dream," he whispered. He promised to keep it forever as a symbol of beginnings. He used that pen to sign hundreds of certificates for graduates. Each signature felt like lighting another candle against darkness spreading in the world. One rainy season, heavy floods threatened nearby villages again. Leo and his students built portable pumps and sent rescue kits. "Action is the best lesson," he told them. The media praised his quick response, but Leo said, "Heroes are not those who lead. They are those who never leave when help is needed." That phrase became famous. Posters appeared everywhere. "Never leave when help is needed. Leo." Yet he stayed humble, working silently behind the smiles. One afternoon, while repairing a generator, he cut his hand. Blood flowed, but he laughed softly. "Even small pain reminds me I'm still learning," he said. The doctor advised rest, but Leo continued teaching. "Knowledge doesn't wait," he joked. His students decorated his bandage with colorful hearts and the words, "Get well, sir." Their love healed him faster than medicine. Each day, their kindness grew into a habit that made the academy feel like one big family. A foreign journalist visited to write about him. She asked, "What's your dream now?" Leo looked around and said, "To make myself unnecessary one day." She frowned, puzzled. He explained, "When my students become teachers of hope, my work will end. That will be my greatest graduation day." She published the article titled, "The Teacher Who Dreams to Disappear." It touched millions. Messages of admiration arrived again, but Leo stayed focused on his mission. At the next annual ceremony, he told his students, "One day, you'll teach others. Don't wait for permission. Light spreads fastest when shared freely." After the speech, Aaron approached him with tears. "Sir, I want to open my own school like you." Leo hugged him tightly, "Then promise me, never give up." That night, Leo looked at the stars again. He whispered, "I see my future in their eyes." The stars twinkled brighter, as if answering, "We see ours in you." Years rolled by gently. Hope Academy had new buildings now, but its heart stayed the same, full of laughter, light, and endless lessons about dreams and patience. Leo still began every morning the same way. He lit a small candle in his office and whispered, "Guide me today to lift one more soul." His schedule was full: meetings, visitors, classes, and interviews. But he never rushed his students. "Learning grows slowly, like trees," he often reminded them kindly. One afternoon, Leo received a letter from a foreign school. They wanted him to visit Japan to teach a workshop on education through empathy. He gladly accepted. When he arrived, students bowed politely. He smiled and said, "I came from a small village where respect was also our first lesson." They clapped and listened closely. Language differences didn't stop connection. He used gestures, drawings, and smiles. "See," he told them, "the heart speaks louder than words." The class laughed softly in agreement. After the workshop, a teacher asked, "Why do you keep teaching when you've already achieved so much?" Leo answered, "Because learning is endless, like sunrise and kindness." They gave him origami cranes as gifts. Each crane carried a word: hope, peace, love. He kept them in his notebook as reminders of silent, universal language. Back home, he shared stories from Japan. His students listened with wonder. "Sir, did they understand you?" one asked. Leo smiled. "Yes, they heard with their hearts." Months later, he was invited to Kenya. Children there learned under trees, just like his early days. "It feels like my past is shaking hands with my present," he thought. He taught them English songs about dreams. The children sang loudly, their voices mixing with wind and laughter. "Music travels faster than lessons," he told the teachers. During a rest break, a small girl approached him. "Sir, will you come again?" she asked. He knelt and said, "If not me, my students will. That's my promise." He returned home, tired but joyful. He realized something. Hope had become contagious. Every place he touched was now growing its own light. Arun, his old student, visited again. "Sir, my school is ready. It's called New Dawn Academy." Leo smiled proudly. "You carried the torch beautifully, my boy." They walked through the classrooms together. Children greeted them shouting, "Never give up!" Leo felt tears rise. "The world repeats my lesson." That means the message lived. Later, he gave Aaron a small gift, Mrs. Clara's old pen. "Use this to sign your students' dreams," he said. Aaron accepted it with shaking hands. "Sir, I'll never forget your words," Aaron said. Leo smiled. "Forget me, but never forget effort. It is the only teacher that never leaves you." That evening, Leo sat outside the academy. The sunset painted the sky golden. He whispered, "The light has spread farther than I ever imagined." He no longer worried about the future. He had already planted enough seeds of courage to last a lifetime. His journey had become a forest of hope. One night, he dreamt of Mrs. Clara standing by her classroom door. She said, "You finished your homework, Leo." He laughed softly, even in sleep. The next morning he felt a gentle pain in his chest, but ignored it. "Too much tea," he joked, continuing his usual walk through the garden. He met children on the path, waving happily. "Good morning, sir," they said. "Good morning, my heroes," he replied. No one noticed his steps slowing slightly. After class, he sat in his chair, looking at old photos, his father fixing tools, his mother baking bread, his first water filter, his first failure, his first try. He smiled at them all. "Each picture is a page," he whispered. "Together, they wrote my life story." The room felt peaceful, full of sunlight and quiet gratitude. As the evening bell rang, he whispered his final note to his diary. "Never give up. Even when the body rests, the dream continues." Then he closed his eyes gently. Later that night, teachers found him asleep at his desk, pen still in hand, face calm like a completed chapter. The candle beside him had melted to its base. The next morning, the whole village gathered silently. The flag of Hope Academy hung half-mast, but the air was not full of sorrow. It was full of respect. Children placed flowers near his chair. Aaron whispered, "He never gave up. Not even once." A soft breeze passed through the windows, carrying whispers of, "Thank you." The mayor announced that the academy would be renamed Leo Memorial School of Hope. Everyone clapped softly, knowing the title truly belonged to him. That night, stars shone brighter than usual. People said it was Leo smiling from the sky, reminding them, keep building, keep learning, keep loving. Weeks passed after Leo's farewell. The school felt quiet, but his presence stayed strong. His words lived in every wall, every book, every smiling child walking those halls. Aaron now led the academy. He began each morning exactly like Leo, lighting a small candle, whispering, "Guide me today to lift one more soul." The students noticed his calm strength. "Sir speaks like Leo," they said. Arun smiled softly. "He taught me how to listen before I speak." That is true teaching. In Leo's office, the chair remained untouched. A small photo hung above the desk showing Leo smiling with children around him. It inspired everyone entering the room. Arun created a wall of dreams. Students pinned their goals written on colorful papers. Engineer, teacher, artist, pilot, it read. Arun told them, "Leo built this dream for you." Every year, the school held a Never Give Up Day. Students performed plays based on Leo's life. Parents watched proudly, wiping tears, remembering the man who changed everything. The celebration ended with a pledge. We promise to dream, to learn, and to never give up. Their voices echoed through the valley like a living prayer. One rainy evening, Aaron walked past the library and found a dusty notebook. Inside were Leo's last lesson plans, full of ideas and sketches for future projects. One note said, "Next goal, Global Youth Network." Aaron read it aloud. He was planning to connect students worldwide, he whispered. A new fire lit inside him. He decided to complete that dream. Using online platforms, he launched the Leo Network, connecting young learners from different countries to share ideas, projects, and kindness. Within months, thousands joined. Students from Brazil, India, Japan, Kenya, and Myanmar shared their small inventions and English stories. The dream had crossed oceans at last. The network held weekly sessions. Aaron began every meeting with Leo's quote, "Failure is the first design." Laughter followed, and so did inspiration. The movement kept growing. A famous author joined one session. She said, "This reminds me of a garden. Everyone planting, everyone learning." Aaron smiled. Yes, Leo planted the first seed. Soon, newspapers wrote again, "A teacher's dream lives on." People called Arun the second Leo, but he always said, "No, I am only his echo." Children everywhere now used "never give up" as a greeting. They wrote it on notebooks, school gates, and even on sand at the beach. Hope had become habit. Years later, Leo's story became part of school textbooks. Students across the world read about him in English lessons. Some cried, some smiled, all felt braver. A documentary team visited Hope Academy. Aaron guided them around. "He started here with broken tools and unbroken will," he explained. The crew filmed every memory with care. The film premiered online and received millions of views. The title was simple, "The Boy Who Never Gave Up." Comments flooded. "This story changed me." One viewer wrote, "I was about to quit college, but Leo's story stopped me." Another said, "Now I teach my students his 3 words, never give up." Aaron felt proud, yet humble. The internet carries his heart farther than planes ever could. he said softly, looking at Leo's photo on the wall. Soon, universities invited Arun to share Leo's educational philosophy. He traveled to many countries, spreading lessons that began under one candlelight in a mountain village. He met teachers who said, "We started English clubs using Leo's methods." Children greeted him with drawings of small lamps and wrote, "We are your students too." During one visit to the United Nations again, Arun spoke in Leo's honor. "Education isn't about tests," he said. "It's about courage, the courage to begin again." Everyone stood and clapped. Some delegates wiped tears. The Secretary General said, "Leo's story is a light for the world. Thank you for keeping it burning." After the event, Arun visited Leo's grave back home. Flowers surrounded it. On the stone, it read, "Here rests the boy who never gave up and never will." Aaron knelt and whispered, "Sir, your dream still walks. The children you taught now teach others. The fire keeps spreading. You are still alive in every classroom." A gentle breeze moved through the trees, like Leo answering softly, "Good work, my boy." Aaron smiled through tears, knowing the promise was truly eternal. That night, under the stars, Arun opened Leo's notebook again. On the last page, one line was written faintly. "Hope travels farther than footsteps." He closed the book gently. "And it still travels," he whispered. The moonlight fell across the page like a silent blessing from his beloved teacher. Years continued to flow like gentle rivers. Hope Academy became a symbol of strength across continents. Children from every corner of the world learned under its digital roof. Aaron often spoke to classrooms in different time zones. "Dreams have no borders," he said kindly. "We speak different languages, but hope sounds the same everywhere." Each day began with Leo's voice recording, still played in the main hall. His soft tone said, "Don't rush. Grow slowly, but keep growing." Students listened silently, inspired. One morning, the school received mail from an astronaut. She wrote, "I carried a flag reading, 'Never give up,' aboard the space station." Leo's words are in space now. Arun held the letter tightly. "Even the stars now know his lesson," he whispered, smiling. The teachers clapped with joy, proud of how far one idea had traveled. The Academy started a Global Hope Week. Students from 50 countries shared science models, poems, and English speeches about courage and kindness. The event united hearts, not just minds. During the closing ceremony, Arun said, "Leo taught us that learning is not about answers. It's about curiosity." Children everywhere repeated, "Curiosity makes light." Their voices became music. Media channels broadcasted the event worldwide. Parents wrote online, "Our children learn more from this story than from textbooks." Leo's legacy became education's favorite heartbeat. One quiet evening, Arun sat on the school rooftop. The city lights shimmered below. He whispered, "Sir, you once looked at stars. Now your light shines back at them." He thought about how education had changed. Robots taught faster, screens glowed brighter, but hearts still needed warmth. "Technology can teach words," he said softly. "Only humans teach meaning." Soon after, a group of university students visited Hope Academy. They wanted to volunteer. Arun welcomed them warmly. "You're not here to teach," he said. "You're here to feel." He guided them through the classrooms. They saw children building small machines, writing English essays, and planting trees. "Learning grows best beside love," he reminded gently. One volunteer, Maria, said, "Sir, I thought teaching was about knowledge, but here, it feels like friendship." Aaron smiled. That's because knowledge is cold until kindness warms it. The volunteers decided to start their own mini academies back home. The idea spread like sunrise. Leo's lessons became roots for many new gardens of growth. Months later, Aaron received an invitation to deliver a TED Talk. The topic: How One Village Changed Global Education. He felt nervous, just like Leo once did. Before walking on stage, he whispered, "Sir, this time it's my turn to tremble." The hall filled with applause as he stepped into the spotlight. He began softly. A long time ago, a boy fixed broken tools and dreams. That boy became my teacher. Today, I carry his candle forward. He spoke about failure, patience, and purpose. Leo taught us to turn pain into practice and dreams into duty. The audience listened deeply, eyes shining with respect. After the talk, people stood and clapped. Some said, "You made us believe again." Arun bowed and whispered, "It was never my voice, it was his echo." Back home, the Academy children watched his speech online. They cheered loudly, waving handmade flags saying, "We are Leo's students." The dream now had countless hearts beating within it. That evening, Aaron visited Leo's parents. They were older, but still smiling kindly. "He would be proud," Leo's mother said. "He always believed love would last longer than life." Aaron held her hands gently. "He was right," he said. "His love became schools, books, and voices across the world." She nodded, eyes bright with tears. As he left their home, he noticed Leo's old water filter still standing outside. It was dusty, but still working. "The first invention still gives," he whispered proudly. He cleaned it gently and smiled. This is where it all began. A small idea built from hope, failure, and love. The moonlight glowed softly around him. The next morning, he placed the filter in the school museum with a note. This bottle carried a dream that never broke. Students stopped to read it every day. The school expanded again, adding the Hall of Voices, a place where recordings of children worldwide played on walls. "Different accents, same dream," the sign read proudly. At night, when everyone left, Arun often sat alone in that hall. The voices played softly, like a choir of hope. "This is Leo's heaven," he whispered peacefully. Years moved quietly, like gentle waves touching the same shore. Hope Academy became history, not just a school. Yet its story kept breathing through generations of new dreamers. Arun now had gray hair, but his eyes still shined with Leo's same fire. Children called him Grand Teacher. He laughed softly each time they did. He walked slower now, using a wooden stick carved with the words, "Never give up." Students often touched it for luck before their exams, smiling with quiet pride. One morning, a letter arrived from the Ministry of Education. It invited him to receive the nation's highest honor for contributions to humanity through learning and compassion. He sat in silence for a while, thinking of Leo's old candlelight. "This belongs to him," he whispered. "I'll accept it in his name." At the ceremony, the president said, "Your teacher lit the first spark. You turned it into a sky of stars." Aaron bowed deeply, holding back tears of gratitude. As he left the stage, children from around the world appeared on screen, waving and shouting, "Never give up!" The audience stood and clapped endlessly. That night, alone in his room, Aaron placed the medal beside Leo's old pen. "You'd laugh at this, sir," he said softly. "You always hated awards." He looked at the sky through his window. A single star blinked brightly, as if nodding. "Good job, my boy," he imagined Leo saying again, just like before. Arun smiled and whispered, "I only followed your footprints." Then he closed his eyes, letting peaceful memories fill every corner of his mind. The next day, he visited Leo's grave once more. Children followed him carrying flowers. The hill was quiet except for wind playing with leaves like soft music. He placed the medal beside the grave and said, "Sir, the dream you planted has grown taller than mountains." The children whispered, "Thank you, Teacher Leo." They stood silently together, hearts full. Aaron closed his eyes and prayed that courage would never fade from their small, innocent souls. The wind whispered back, "It won't." Months later, Aaron's health began to fade. Doctors advised rest, but he refused. "My rest will come later," he smiled. "For now, I still have lessons." He continued teaching through video calls from his bed. His students said, "Sir, you are our light." He answered gently, "No, my light now lives in you." One evening, he asked his assistant to bring Leo's old notebook. The pages had yellowed, but every word still felt alive. He touched them with trembling hands. On one corner, Leo had once written, "If one heart learns to believe, the world is already better." Aaron whispered, "It happened, sir." Many hearts believed. That night he recorded one last message for his students. "If you ever feel small," he said softly, "remember, even candles can guide lost ships." His voice cracked near the end, but his smile never faded. He closed the camera gently and whispered, "Good night, world. Keep learning. Keep shining." The next morning, sunlight filled his room. He had passed peacefully, notebook in hand. On his face, a smile like Leo's, gentle, humble, eternal. The whole world mourned. News outlets played his story again. People said 2 teachers built a generation without borders. Flowers arrived from 50 countries. At Hope Academy, students stood in silence. The principal announced, "From today, November 10th, will be World Never Give Up Day." Children cheered through tears. That evening, candles lit every classroom window. The mountain village glowed like a sea of stars. People whispered, "Leo's fire burns again through every hand that learns." In the sky above, 2 stars blinked side by side. Some said it was Leo and Aaron watching together. Others said it was just light. But hearts knew better. Years passed after Aaron's farewell. Hope Academy stood taller, shining under the same sun that once touched Leo's tiny workshop and the dust-covered road of his first dream. New teachers filled the classrooms, but their voices still carried the same rhythm, slow, patient, full of care. "Learning begins with love," they always reminded every child. Children came from every part of the world, some poor, some privileged, all equal beneath the school's old banner that still read proudly, "Never give up." Inside the museum, the candle, the pen, and the medal rested together in a glass case. A small note underneath read, "Dreams don't die, they multiply." Every morning, before classes, the youngest student was chosen to light the candle. Tiny hands trembled with pride. The flame danced like Leo's smile, soft and steady. Far away, Leo's story became a film translated into 20 languages. People cried, clapped, and whispered, "He reminds us what real strength means." An author wrote, "Leo and Aaron didn't teach English. They taught the world how to speak hope." That line appeared on posters in schools across continents. Hope Academy grew into Hope University. Its motto remained simple: start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. Professors from distant nations came to study Leo's teaching model. They called it heart-based learning. It combined education with emotion, grammar with gratitude, lessons with love. One day, a little girl named Mira entered the university. Her parents were farmers. Her shoes were torn, but her eyes burned with the same fire Leo once had. She spent hours reading in the library. One afternoon, she found Leo's notebook under a glass cover. She pressed her small hand against the glass and whispered, "Thank you." The curator smiled. "He would have liked you," she said. "He believed children like you would finish his story." Mira nodded, promising silently to make it true. She joined engineering classes, learned English, and designed simple water filters, just like Leo. Her first invention helped her entire village during a long, dry season. When she presented it at the school fair, judges asked, "What inspired you?" She answered proudly, "A boy who never gave up, and a teacher who followed him." Applause filled the hall. Aaron's portrait on the wall seemed to glow. Some said the sunlight hit it perfectly. Others said maybe, just maybe, it was smiling. Years later, Mira became a teacher herself. Her classroom looked just like Leo's, simple, bright, full of laughter and small machines built from old bottles and hope. She told her students, "Failure is the first design." The children giggled. She laughed too. "Yes," she said, "and that's why we keep trying again." Every evening she lit a candle near Leo's picture and whispered, "We're still building, sir." The flame flickered gently as if whispering back, "I know." Soon, Hope University created the Leo and Arun Global Scholarship for young dreamers who build change through kindness. Thousands applied. Many lives began their own new journeys. Every scholar received a badge shaped like a tiny flame. On the back, 3 words were carved: "Never give up." They wore it close to their hearts. One graduate, standing on a mountain peak in Nepal, said to the camera, "This flame reminds me that one heart can teach the whole world." Another student from Brazil wrote, "I learned English to read Leo's story, and now I teach English to tell it." Hope had learned how to translate itself. The world changed, but the message never faded. It lived in voices, in classrooms, in tiny notebooks filled with dreams written by trembling, brave young hands. Every November 10th, children across the globe still celebrate World Never Give Up Day. They share stories, sing songs, and write letters beginning with, "Dear Leo, thank you for believing first." On that same night, Hope University's sky fills with lanterns. Thousands rise together, lighting the heavens like a river of stars, each one carrying a wish for tomorrow. Mira watches them drift upward and whispers, "Every flame is a word of courage." A tear slips down her cheek, shining like another star joining the sky. As the lanterns disappear, her students ask, "Miss Mira, will Leo ever come back?" She smiles gently. "He already did, every time someone learns and loves." The children nod quietly. Their eyes glow with curiosity and faith, the same 2 lights Leo used to brighten his dark nights long ago. When everyone leaves, Mira stays behind. She writes one final line in her diary: "Hope is not taught. It is remembered." Then she closes the book softly. Outside, the wind carries faint whispers through the trees, the voices of Leo and Arun saying, "Keep learning, keep shining, keep building your world." Above the school, 2 bright stars twinkle side by side. A third slowly joins them. Together they glow brighter, painting the night with the promise of endless learning. And somewhere, in every corner of the earth, a child opens a notebook, writes a dream and whispers the same 3 words that built this entire story. Never give up.